Hello everyone, you're listening to After We're Gamers, the podcast where two nerdy Czech guys sit behind a microphone and this time take on the war on video games. I'm Michal.
And I'm Matouš.
Welcome back everyone to the third episode of After We're Gamers. We're so excited to have you back here. And what have you been playing past month?
Well, actually, I finally finished Metro Last Light for the first time.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool game. And I'm excited to take on Metro Exodus somewhere in the future. Maybe not in the near future, but that. And I have also, actually, the day before yesterday, I have finally finished Bayonetta 3.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I would say it's not as good as the 2, but still a pretty good game.
Nice. I've played all of them. I didn't finish the Exodus because I found it really boring, and I just couldn't like get myself to finish it. But the Metro Last Light was really good.
Yeah,
even the first one was really good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the first one, like the mood of the first one. The second one definitely better gameplay wise, like more modern, of course.
Yeah. Have you read the books?
No, I have not. Actually.
I recommend them. They're really good. You have to get through some of the craziness. Like sometimes it's like, what is going on? Like sometimes it's not really well explained. But that's the beauty of the book because it's unknown in the metro what's happening in the metro. So it's the books are really well done. I would highly recommend to read the books.
I'll definitely add them to my book backlog, which is growing almost as fast as my game backlog. Anyway, what have you been playing?
Well, last time we had Franz, my brother-in-law, on the podcast, and he was saying that he bought me a Cyberpunk, and he said I've never buy him. That's I'm quoting him. That was his words. He said I didn't buy him a game since. So he bought me Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh.
And he bought me the deluxe edition.
Ah, nice.
The deluxe version of the game, so I could play it like 3 days before the launch. And man, I love that game.
Oh, really?
As a fan of Harry Potter, I'm a big fan. I was very, very scared of what they will do because that could be a big flop. But the characters, the map, the Hogwarts is amazing, and the surrounding area, beautiful. Flying, I was afraid that the flying would be just, some kind of a mediocre thing, but it's so much fun to fly around. Cool. And it's honestly so much better than just fast travel. It's just so much convenient. Like, it's not convenient, but to be honest, I find myself rather flying than just using a fast travel in the game.
So it's more enjoyable.
It's more enjoyable to just fly around because the soundtrack is so beautiful. That's like the Harry Potter series have one of the best soundtracks out there, and they captured the magic of the world and of the universe so beautifully, and with here and there having the Hedwig's theme or the themes from the movies to pop out of nowhere somewhere. So that's one. And the gameplay. Oh my gosh, the gameplay of the fights. So the fighting. Oh my gosh. I was just afraid that it's going to be just mindless clicking. You know how the previous last few games were. I
don't really remember.
They were basically trying to be Call of Duty, just Harry Potter Call of Duty, like stupefy, all the time. You were just clicking mouse, and it was just not enjoyable. But so I was afraid, how they gonna do, magic casting, and it's so well done. Yes, you have the basic spell, you can cast like all the time, and then you have like the well-known spells like Accio, Descendo, and then you can also learn the forbidden spells like Avada Kedavra, Crucio, and stuff like that. And these spells you have like on assigned to a button, and or on a number if you're playing on PC, and they are on cooldown, so you can't just like spam the spells. So you have to combine the spells and Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. I would recommend playing it, or maybe just look up some videos and see for yourself. Angry Joe gave this game a 10 out of 10.
He must be a massive Harry Potter fan.
Yeah, he must be, obviously. But like, Angry Joe doesn't give 10 out of 10 just out of nowhere. So this game is obviously made for fans. Let's say that.
That's the reviews I've read, because I'm not as massive Harry Potter fan as other people are. So I haven't bought it yet, and I think I'll wait for some sale. Because from what I heard from some of the reviews of people that are not as massive fans, that they would probably not give it 10 out of 10, but it's worth checking out, definitely. So I'm waiting for a sale.
Yeah. Like, gaming, I said it many times, I'm going to say it again. Gaming is a subjective experience.
Yes.
And it's up to you what you play. So
100%.
if you find it mediocre, that's fine. I'll give it 10 out of 10.
And I'm happy for you that you enjoyed it, yes.
Easily my game of the year so far.
Oh, wow.
No, really, it's really good. It's really good. We'll see how the year will go. But I have really high hopes for
like this year is going to be really stacked with game releases. Yeah. So we'll see if games like Starfield or some other massive releases will change your mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but great for you that you enjoy a great game, and maybe I will enjoy it too. We don't know yet.
I feel like we both have like kind of games like we both enjoy and we want the other to play it, so we can share it.
Yeah.
Those are games we've been playing. Let us know in the comments or on our Instagram, what have you been playing past month, and maybe if you played the games that we played, share your opinion. We would love to hear it. So previously on After We're Gamers, we had some topics.
Before we start with the previous, actually, I have a confession to make.
Oh!
I have actually pre-ordered a game.
You have sinned.
well, I can explain. Because it was a remaster of a game that I already played and was great.
Okay.
The remaster was already out as a digital, and it had great reviews. And the pre-order was for the physical copy of the game, which I'm collecting, and I got a nice poster with it. It was the Metroid Prime remastered, yeah.
Have you played it yet?
I haven't actually gotten to it yet. I was finishing the Bayonetta 3 and stuff, so it's on my schedule, and I'm really excited to start.
Maybe next time on After We're
Gamers. Perhaps, yeah.
All right, so previously we talked about some stuff, and we had some news that maybe would be interested, and what some maybe updates for the topics we've been talking. Last time we talked about AIs.
Quite a lot, actually.
And nearly I think 2 days after we stopped recording the episode, when we recorded the episode, Minecraft announced they want to implement an AI for building in that game.
That's dope.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I tried Minecraft. It didn't really stick to me.
I mean, I consider myself more of a Dragon Quest builders kind of guy, but it's dope that they're coming with these cool tools.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if people use it, go for it. So that's one of the ways that Minecraft can be implemented, which is, I think, great for the Minecraft, maybe.
Yeah, great for the Minecraft community. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Minecraft is already using some kind of a AI, at least for the procedural generated world. So. And this is just for the building, so we'll see let's see what will happen with Minecraft.
And how will the community like it?
Yeah, exactly. It might be really, really bad AI,
or it might be really, really cool.
And it might be really cool.
We'll even persuade you to start using it and playing Minecraft.
Maybe. Another thing, we talked about High on Life in the first episode.
Yeah, great game.
And it came out from the devs that they were actually using AI for the imagery.
Well, obvious tool. We talked about it last time.
Yeah, which is when you look at the game, it's kind of obvious that they used it. They obviously were working with it. So that's just a little fact that they were just using AI.
As you can see, the game benefited from it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you played it.
Yeah, exactly. another thing is we have some update about Justin Roiland. That he was. We said last time that he was accused of some sexual harassment, but it was actually domestic battery and false imprisonment. There were several courts already, several hearings already. The lady or the person who accused Roiland of those things already have. Excuse me. Has what's the thing called?
One.
Sorry. The person already gave a restrictive order, so he cannot come to her into a certain area.
I see.
I'm just quoting from what I found on NBC News. Apparently, Roland was charged in May 2020, and was arrested and released on 50,000 bond in August 2020. So this is not a new thing. He was already arrested, and a protective order filed in October 2023 and documented in the court. Minutes said that Roiland is not to harass, threaten, or surveil the person named in the protective order. They obviously hide the lady's
identity, yeah, of course.
which makes sense. So he pleaded not guilty. So we'll see what will come out of it. The order lasts until October 2023. And there should be another big hearing. Like the whole case should be reviewed, and so we'll see if he will be faced with any charges or not. So that's just a little update on what will happen. So we'll see. But let's just maybe jump into maybe something more positive to all GTA fans.
We'll see how positive that will be.
Well, Rockstar announced that GTA 6 might come in 2024.
Well, we'll see about that, because I think a game of that high expectations and that hugeness of a game, probably. Yeah. Like Starfield was also delayed, and it was supposed to come end of last year, and it will come in September. True. So I think it's likely they will postpone it, but we'll see. Maybe they'll surprise, or maybe that will come in a bad state.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's what I'm afraid of. Again, I was watching some footage. I was watching a lot of Angry Joe show past few weeks, and I just saw the footage from the definitive edition of GTA, and man, that's so bad. Like, how can a company like this approve to release a game like in that state? That's mind-boggling to me, and I'm kind of afraid.
It keeps happening.
It keeps happening.
Actually, fun fact: Outer Worlds, the RPG by Obsidian, published by Private Division before Microsoft bought them. Yeah. The publisher hired another studio to create like a I don't know what it's called, like Space Edition or whatever. So like paid upgrades to the game for like the next gen consoles and stuff, and it has so many problems that it's actually people are saying don't buy the upgrade. That's
crazy. Yeah.
So it keeps happening.
Yeah, it keeps happening. When you look at, even Nintendo is kind of guilty of that. Like not directly Nintendo, but Franz in the last episode he mentioned, the Pokemon games. The last one, I don't know what it's called because I'm not a fan of Pokemon.
Violet, I guess.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of Pokemon, so I don't know. But that game came in such a bad state. People still keep pre-ordering it.
Yes. Like that's what we said last time. Don't buy those games when they are bad. That's the only way how we can teach them that they need to finish them. Yeah, I'm a fan of Pokemon like Gold, Silver, and Crystal, which is the second generation, which came more than 20 years ago. So yeah, I was not really into the newer games because of these issues.
Yeah. So we'll see. The gaming industry is in a business state. Let's say it's more. It's almost anti-consumer. I would say so. It's sad, but again, let's not go and blame the developers. Let's blame the people who are doing the business. And I think
because there are multiple variables, but this is not okay.
Yeah.
Industry, stop rushing games, please.
Yeah, and this is an occurring topics in our episodes all the time, and because it's frustrating and people are getting frustrated. And what's worse, I want to talk about this one day too, is that gamers are also tired to be lied by their own media.
Yeah.
So, IGN.
It has a little bit for everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we should move on from this. We would talk about it for way too long.
Yeah. So that was just some topics what happened from last time we were talking about, and again, let us know. Maybe something that we missed, something that happened in the realm of AI, or
you're an insider and you have secrets that you could share with us.
Yeah, please do share them on YouTube. And let us know. Let us know what you've been playing, and what news that we might have missed from the last time. When new media shows up and starts taking more and more popularity, there are people who go with it and either adapt doing it, or they just don't use it. And there are people who resent it, sometimes going as far as to claim that this media is breaking the very fabric of our society and social life. Claims such as psychological impact and causing real-life violence are very common among those who fight against these media. These claims come from regular people, religious folk, but also doctors and other intellectuals and politicians. Frederick Wertham, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name, a very well-known psychiatrist from early 20th century, from early 90s, decried the endless, quote-unquote, endless stream of brutality in comic books and denounced one title in particular as embodying sadistic fantasies. That comic he was talking about was Superman. Daphne Bolivier, on the other hand, is saying that action video games have a number of ingredients that are really powerful for brain plasticity, learning, attention, and vision. There are many, many studies on supporting both options. How should the researchers approach this issue?
Well, first and foremost, since I've been interested in video games since I was a little kid, since I knew they existed, I've in my life come across multiple of these researches, and it seems that only those researchers that want to prove, really hard want to prove that the games are bad, usually prove that. Because that's the issue of multiple researches, that if you want to come with a conclusion and you're not trying to be objective enough, you will always come with the conclusion you want. For example, if you would ask if, AirPods are the best headphones, you would only ask people who have AirPods, and most of them will tell you they're the best because they don't know any other headphones. So, yes, that's how you can manipulate the facts, manipulate the research. But I think researchers should approach this to try to be as objective as possible. I think it would be best for this kind of research, find people who are not interested in any of these opinions, that are kind of neutral or don't care at all, and let them handle the research. I think that's the best way, always.
Yeah, because there's a lot of bias
yes.
When it comes to these researchers and these research papers. I think it's kind of a, how to say it? I had a really good thought, but my brain is, we're recording, we usually record episodes on Saturday, but today we had to record it on Thursday morning, and my brain is still waking up. But again, there's a lot of bias, and it's so sad that it's been tried so many times. Even with Shakespeare, it goes throughout the human history, wherever there's something new, something that the younger generation is striving for, usually the older generation is going oh, this is bad, this is detrimental. So
Yeah, and I think like if you talk just about the violence, I would like to pose an example or like quote what happened. Like this question started to be discussed by the mainstream when the first Mortal Kombat came out because it was pretty violent and brutal.
Yeah.
And they started talking about like games are bad and violent, making people violent. But the argument that the makers of the game made, the statement stated, I'm paraphrasing, but something like, well, it's not worse than what's in other media, like TV shows and movies. And he's right. Like, if these TV shows and movies are okay, then I guess video games are too, because like it's not worse. So why would you put your anger towards that one game or that one type of media, even though you are following and supporting others that do the exact same thing?
I think what people are forgetting about is that the violence can be a tool for storytelling. It's not necessarily just if the game is, or if the story is just violent just for the sake of being violent. Okay, I would say that's
questionable.
Bland, to say the least. It's bland. It's like giving nothing. I don't think it's necessarily wrong, like to have violence in movies and video games, but it can be used as a storytelling tool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
For example, like if you want to make let me do my personal example.
Okay, cool.
When I played like 2 years ago or something, some war-themed video game, and there was like a story and stuff, and it made me realize like this game is really violent and bad things are happening. I'm not sure which game it was. I think it was when I was replaying Mafia 2 and the sequence when you're at war for a bit or something like that, and it made me realize, I'm really glad I don't have to live through the war.
Yeah.
That I'm not in that. And that actually can be the power of violence in the video games, because when you see it, when you in the video games you a little bit live it, you know, like, hey, I don't really want to have this in real life.
It could be a teaching tool too. Like that's how we humans learn. Like if I have a 1 year and she's about to be 4 months, 1 year and a 4 months old daughter, and she fails all the time. And that's how she learns. That's how she knows, like, okay, this is a big step. If I'm just going to go run through it, I'm going to fall, I'm going to hurt myself. Because she did it previously, and now she knows that, okay, something bad happened to me, and it's a learning thing for me. And I feel like games can also be used in that way, learning. And I think someone told me that their teacher is using Assassin's Creed as a teaching tool for history. You know, you have in the new games like Origins, Odyssey. I don't know if they have it still in the Valhalla, but there's a mode where you can just run around, and there's like a point on the map where there's either it can be read, so there's like a voiceover done, or you can just read like a text where it's explaining like the historical facts about the place or about the society in the day. And I feel that's so amazing. Like you have something engaging, something that it's not just kids sitting behind the desk and just making notes, but they actively learning. So let's just maybe approach games in that way. Like, not every game has to be a learning tool, but we're forgetting most of the time.
Well, it can be a learning tool, even though it's not made as a learning tool. We can all learn from a video game, learn something.
A lot of games are tackling a lot of like problems that we have as a society or as a people. Like if you look at the Witcher universe, okay, that's mainly because Sapkowski wrote it that way. The elves are hated there. They're
then Sintra did the genocide of the elves.
Exactly. So he tackles the problem of racism, and it's in the games it's even more evident. So games usually tend to do this because if it wouldn't have these things, it would just be bland story. And as the gaming industry grew, the audience grew with it, and now you have a more mature audience, so you need more mature stories. That's why I love that the God of War series kind of matured from, I am angry, I'm gonna kill all the gods. That's my best Kratos expression. To a father who was tackling all the problems in his head, trying to figure out how to raise a son properly and how to navigate through the society he is in. So games can give these kind of things into our society. Yeah.
I think like with the God of War, actually, like the older games, like the violence in them actually kind of tells also teaches you something about the violence, because it's actually one of the few games where like rage works as a story, because it's done in that way. But it also shows like, hey, I may kind of be the bad guy, like makes you as the player feel sometimes.
Are we the baddies?
yeah, exactly. Because like you do some stuff and you as a player might realize, okay, maybe this is not really good.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like when you realize that, I mean, like you've kind of won, because
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So researchers, if you wanna work on these types of paper, then approach it without bias and listen to both sides, and just don't be just games bad.
Yeah, and actually like try to get it from the people who are actually know something about the topic. Don't ask Karens, they will always tell you the same answer, that they want to talk to the manager. But like check with people that are that actually play video games. Like you won't get a good answer about this if you research people that know that something like Pac-Man existed. I mean, it's cool they know, but it won't give you a good answer for your paper.
Yeah, video game industry is huge.
And also, very important point, watch for the other things in their life, because correlation doesn't mean causality. If like you can see data points, if this happens, then this, like the curve in the graphs is the same. That does not necessarily mean that it has it's connected.
Exactly.
So if he's aggressive and he's playing video games, maybe it's because his father is an alcoholic, or maybe because he's been disowned by his family, or he has to care for himself, or he's been with in a bad group that do drugs or whatever. There are multiple reasons for people doing bad things.
Exactly. You kind of jumped into the second question: are violent games really responsible for the atrocities which are attributed to them, or are they just a scapegoat?
I think that the answer is
obvious. The question.
They're scapegoat. I really love the hypocrisy. Like in America, there was one massive shooting, and it is a tragedy. But the hypocrisy was of some of the stores, like Walmart, or I don't know, so some of their stores, and they had a display with weapons and display, or firearms and display with video games. And in reaction to the tragedy of someone shooting in a school and killing several people, they hit the display case with the video games, and not with the firearms. So apparently the shooter, he just put the cases with the discs for the game into the gun or something. I don't know. That's like a hypocrisy, because what is doing the shooting, the gun or the games?
Exactly. There's a famous quote games don't kill people, it's the bad lag.
I actually like the jokes in the style video games cause violence because Napoleon was a massive player of Animal Crossing.
That's true. I actually another example of the hypocrisy is that when there was another massive shooting, I think it was Hillary Clinton who said that the violent video games are the problem. instead of just solving their gun problem and gun policy in America. But it's not just in the US. It's a problem everywhere around the world.
Well, maybe not as much to a degree.
Not the shooting, but blaming video game for something.
Well, I would say, I think not in Japan, because like Japan has a massive video game tradition, even like the retired people play Pokemon Go in the streets and stuff. But actually, fun thing, it looks like it's not just a correlation, but also causality, because in Japan, people play video games much more than in US, and they have much less shootings in public. So
because they have
see some connection there.
Yeah, but they also have a good gun policy. I think you're not allowed to own a gun in Japan, I think.
I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't studied.
Take Czech Republic, for example. Like, we don't have that strict gun policy, but much stricter than in US. You actually have to see a doctor to tell you you're okay to have a gun. You have to go through a training, and you have to complete a test that they won't give you just for nothing. Like, you have to show that you really know all the rules, how to handle a gun. Yeah. And we don't have that much mass shootings, and we're also massive video gamers here.
Yeah, exactly. Massive gamers.
A lot of us even play after work.
Oh gosh.
Like even like shooting games and stuff are actually like some parents. I think that's for later, but some parents even allow their kids that are pretty young to play violent video games, and they are not aggressive.
Yeah. I remember when I went for the premiere of the Deadpool, the first movie, and I remember I had to show my ID. I don't know why, but I had to show my ID. I had a beard, I think, at that time. And I was like, okay, do I really look that young?
Maybe you should be flattered.
But okay, I got in. But then I see like one mother with like 3 boys, like who could be like 12 at that time, going to that movie. And I think what it comes down to when we talk about, it's because this topic is usually brought up around kids, right? Because, kids playing a lot of games, spending a lot of time on social media or on their phones. So is it that big of a problem for the kids, or is it maybe just for the parents, just control their what the kids are playing? That is why we have PG rating.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to come up with. Yeah, the Mortal Kombat controversy actually spanned the start of these rating organizations. We have PEGI here in Europe. It's like Pan-European Gaming Information or something like that. I don't know. That's ESRB and USK and multiple for different regions. And like honestly, actually, I think those ratings are good because
there should be some regulation.
There are some games that are like 18, and I feel like maybe they could be played by someone younger because I don't feel that horrible. But for example, Last of Us, I remember reading on a subreddit about someone who really wanted to play, and it was like 12 or 13 or something, and he said that he had nightmares because of it, because the game tackles some pretty like hard and difficult topics, because it's not just violence, it's some like psychological things.
I played when I was playing that game,
and they are uneasy. So if the ratings are more of a recommendation, but I think that it's good. Like, it's definitely up to the parents to like verify, okay, like my kid is kind of mature. I think he's fine with playing game with a rating that's like 2 years more than he is right now.
Yeah.
But also like, I don't think he's mature enough. I think he should wait, even though he's already the age that's on the box.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I would say to the parents, look for the rating, check out what your kid is playing, because you don't know what your kid is playing right now. Trust me, I was playing Doom when I was 9-year-old on my father's computer, and my dad never find out because I had it on a floppy disk.
Oh,
that was back in the day, dude. I had it on floppy disks, and I hid it in my pillow the 12:30, so my mom never found out, even that she was changing, because I know that she's gonna change my pillowcase today. Okay, so I have to hit it somewhere else. I had like 3 hiding spots in my room.
Oh wow!
I was very crafty when I was.
So Michal, parents, if you're listening to this, he's sorry. He bamboozled you.
They rolled too low on their inside check investigation. That was a little bit of a D&D joke right there.
Yeah, but back to the point. Like, you really should judge the games on maybe game by game basis and person by person basis. It can be very individual, and yes, I mean that they can maybe like help if someone's in a bad mental state to accelerate it.
Yeah,
that's possible. But like if you were in bad mental state, I guess it's not something that would be the cause. But on the other hand, actually, video games, and it has been in multiple studies, that video games actually help relieve the stress. Like we talked about it in the first episode, that I have been under a lot of stress last year because of, like I said, the moving and other stuff, crisis, whatever. And the video games really helped me get through. Video games really helped me like get through some of these, because it's a great relief. Like especially the violent games, because when you're tired and you just can go, for example, hack and slash games, you're the strongest guy and you destroy multiples or hundreds in some games of peasants.
True.
And that can really help you like relieve yourself. Like, okay, I have put my aggression from my boss being mean to me. Actually, that's not like from right now. I'm actually pretty happy at my work, but like if you have a bad boss who's mean to you and like unfair, you can just put your aggression into the game, and then you don't need to do it in real life. Actually, people who play video games tend to be nicer to their children when they had a bad day at work, because they put all the stress into the virtual world and don't need to do it in real life.
Yeah, exactly. Like I know plenty of gamers who like played like the lot of violent video games, but they get like depressed when they hit the deer or something. You know? Like, so I would
say like the most violent games are actually often played by the nicest people. And there may not necessarily be nicest because of it, but it definitely helps them be nice because they don't need to project their other stresses, other issues into other people.
Yeah, exactly. One last thing I would say to the parents is that so check what your kid is playing, check the ratings, and think what are you giving to your child, what are you opening them to, and then I would give you one really good advice, and I believe that your kid will gonna love you for this. Go sit down and play the games with your kid.
Oh, yes.
Every time my dad went and played something with me, it was the best day of my life. I guarantee you that your kid is gonna love you for it.
I agree. That's pretty cool advice.
Yeah. So,
and you might actually find out that not all games are that bad as you think, and you might actually find something that's a great way to connect with your kid. Yeah,
maybe try to like overlook the violence and look more into the story and the characters and the world that was built by the people who made the game. But now let's really quickly try to look at it from the religious point of view. As we are both Christians, me and Mateusz, what do you think? Is it okay for us to play these games? I mean, the answer is kind of obvious, but we want to expand on it.
I would say, like, in a lot of Christians, especially in the past when there was not much like people were not really informed about them, it was considered like a bad and anything. But I think the thing about video games, there can be, as I said, great stress reliever, great tool to connect. For example, I had really deep talks when I was playing World of Warcraft with other people. It's back in the day when I was still a student and I had a lot more time than these days. But so like I had some really great talks with other people in that game. And I think the issue is not whether you can or cannot, or like it's good or bad. But I think the more question is how much. Like if it's not really good to like spend all your life there, if if it's not for a good reason, like connecting with your child or connecting with other people, stress relieving, or just like having a relaxing time. But I guess it goes for everyone, not just Christians. Like, aren't you spending way too much time in doing something that's for fun? Shouldn't you just be exploring other hobbies or doing other things and stuff? So I think it's not whether it's bad but more how much is good amount.
That goes for everyone though. Like everything
totally.
Like too much of everything is bad.
Yeah.
We can agree on that. Everyone can agree on that, right? Let us know in the comments.
When you breathe too much, you die. And each person has a different amount of air they can process through their lungs.
I believe, what I personally believe is, when you look at the Bible, well, first and foremost, when I was doing a research for this episode and for this topic in particular, a lot of people were actually asking, what does Bible says on the video games? Which is kind of interesting questions. And like, why are you asking that question in the first place when the Bible was written 2,000 years ago, when there was no video games,
right?
And you're looking for answer for video games in the Bible? Yes. Okay. So look at it from the Bible standpoint of view. Several verses. One of them comes to mind is, I'm paraphrasing. I'm translating into Czech from Czech. So bear with me. The verse says, everything is allowed, but not everything is good for you. So if the games are detrimental to your health, your relationships, your relationship with God and Jesus, is it bad for your mental health? Then you should not probably play it. Like, you just need to know yourself. Like, is it taking away a lot from you, from a relationship with God, or is it just a leisure activity? Because that's one thing a lot of Christians are forgetting about. The games is not some demonic thing that people made or the Satan make. I always find like the GTA and especially the Doom series, attacked by Christians. First of all, okay, yes, the imagery and everything. I can agree on the imagery. Okay, I'm not affected by it because I believe it's just a leisure activity.
That's the thing. Like, sorry to interrupt you here for a bit. That's the thing. Like, this can be what you said. This can be individual for everyone. Some people can, with a like clear conscience, play games like these, and some people don't. But that's like, know your limits.
Yeah, exactly. And you were quoting another verse before we started. I forgot which one it was.
Oh, you mean like the one whose innocence first throw the stone?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's also true, because like there are other things, other media that can have the same kind of like bad stuff in them. For example, like I think pornography is a problem, and some TV shows have pornography in them, basically. And that's one of the issues. And that can be in games. That's why it's good idea to skip games that have this. And like there are things that are objectively bad, and there are things that are subjectively bad. And it's good to like keep yourself informed and try to find your limits and know them.
Yeah, it's exactly. Try to find your limits. Know what's affecting you, especially as a Christian. If it is affecting your relationship with God. That's why I don't play horror games, because I just find them very, very scary, and I did find them uneasy to play. So I know I cannot play them. It's fun to watch me play them because I'm screaming like a little girl, and I'm so stressed. But just know what is bad. What are your limits, as Mato said? Like,
and I think like this also does not go for like the bad in the nature games, like, yeah, there's a lot of violence, but it can be sometimes games that make you feel something when you're playing, or just when you're in bad mood. For example, like when you play some hard game, for example, hard platform, or even like Mario, can make you feel like when you're in really bad state of mind, like when you feel like you're losing way too much because, I don't know, you're way too tired and you're not concentrating enough on the game, and it makes you feel like you're going aggressive because of that, or like more angry than before, then it's good to just like lay off the game for a bit and come back when you're feeling better, and maybe play something more relaxing. For example, I can recommend Islanders, where you just put buildings on an island and get score from that. Very relaxing.
Yeah.
Or something like that,
Yeah. I would maybe just now address pastors and preachers who kind of bash on video games, who are not themselves gamers, which is one of the biggest problems. So when these kind of people like make statements like this, they are not usually gamer. They don't games. Pastors, gamers are not bad just because they are not made by God. You have absolutely no right, and it's you should be ashamed of yourself. I'm saying you should repent if you blame the problems of the world and of especially young men and young people on the video games. That I saw one pastor saying like, why do he was addressing his church, and he was saying, why do there's beautiful girls in this church, and you know why they don't cannot find a date. And he was like making a movement of a controller, a guy playing a video game. And he said that that's the retarded spirit of the young men in this church. I'm like, dude, what are you even saying? Like, okay, so is just because game? Oh yeah, that was another one. And yeah, just because games contain something that is not godly or it's sinful doesn't mean that we should. Like, even Bible contains things that are sinful. It talks about the sin. So should we stop reading Bible all of a sudden just because it contains sinful things? So conclusion is, know what you're doing, know your limits, and just know yourself, know what's worth it. Yeah.
I would maybe have a point to the pastors and preachers. And that goes not just for video games. Don't talk way too negative, or don't make conclusions about things you know nothing of.
Yeah.
When you like, I think that can be issue for not just pastors and preachers, but a lot of people that talk publicly. They talk about things they have no idea of.
Yeah.
So before you talk about it, try to find the information, learn about the thing. Just because you don't know something about, or just because you heard a rumor, it doesn't mean that it's true. And if you are a pastor, you should be even more cautious about what you say, because people listen to you, and you first and foremost, you should be the prime example of how to process information, and don't put out anything that might not be true.
Exactly. So the conclusion is, if you have something to say about video games, whether you're a pastor or researcher, do some research, do play video games, ask the right people,
and use your brain.
Yeah. All right. Use your brain. That's the best thing we have said so far.
Yes. But
that's the conclusion of all these episodes. Early feminism accomplished some amazing things. Women now have the same rights as men. By law, there's nothing that women cannot do. They can vote, find whatever job they desire, and pursue their career. In the early 80s, the video games demographic was mainly men. Therefore, the games were marketed and made for men. As video games were maturing and its audience was growing up too, the video games had to adapt to these changes. From games for kids, we had to go to epic games with the strong, muscular heroes who blasted through amazing adventures, and the female characters who were as strong as they were beautiful. A lot of feminists were complaining about the portrayal of women in this media. according to them, the clothes were inappropriate. The damsel in distress trope disempowers female characters, and overall characterization of women was wrong. And the games had to adapt again because more and more women were joining the quote-unquote gaming club. A main female character is now a normal occurrence. And the over-the-top sexy characters is more of a rarity these days. Do you have any favorite female characters?
Good question. I mean, there could be multiple, like obvious choice, Lara Croft from the rebooted trilogy, or the Princess Zelda, Princess Peach from the Nintendo games, to name a few.
Yeah. So do you find them like as a good characters?
Oh yes, and it's, I would say, mainly because of the writing in some of the games.
Yeah.
For example, like in the first rebooted game of the Tomb Raider trilogy, like the character of Lara Croft has really good writing, like the transformation from like unexperienced to going through really traumatic event, basically. And yeah. The great writing makes a great character.
Yeah. For me, I would say, there's a lot of
there are a lot of great characters.
A lot of good female characters. I don't know if I can pick just one as you.
Right.
Like there's so many iconic. Like I really like the Aloy from Horizon.
Good one.
Sometimes she's kind of a bland for me. Sometimes like her.
I think it's mostly because of the face animation in some dialogues.
Yeah.
But actually, Aloy is pretty amazing when like they done some character when she's alone, when she's not talking to anyone. You're playing and she talks to herself. Like maybe I should be more careful when dropping off a cliff or
Like, all the games got that from The Witcher 3 because Geralt was doing that all the time, talking to himself. Well, it's actually, there's a reason for that, because in the book he talks to his horse, so he's not like going insane, going to the moon. But
so that's Michal's favorite male character. But back to the female characters.
Back to the female characters. Yeah, Aloy was pretty good. I would say. What are the other ones? I would say like the Witcher characters, like even when they're behaving bad, they're very well written characters, like Yennefer, Triss.
That's the modern trend of writing the bad or even villainous characters so good you still like them. Yeah,
so are we heading the right direction, or did it go too far?
Honestly, I think it really depends on the writing. Just like in TV shows, when the characters are well written, it doesn't matter whether they're male, female, or if they are written well, if they are good characters, and it's going in the right direction. That's what I would say about this.
Yeah. That's true. I think, like, kind of that. I think it's okay to portray women in video game as sexy. I don't have a problem with that. That's the thing. Like the demographic of video games is still mainly men.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, video games started as a thing for nerds, and it was our fantasy world where to go. So we didn't have girlfriends, but we had them in video games. We weren't strong, but we were in the video game. So yeah, of course, like it's like the video games are kind of a way to project our wishes and desires.
Yeah.
So I think it goes for both male and female. Yeah. Females who play video games that. Yeah, do you want to like be lame? I guess not.
Yeah, exactly. But for example, for me, if I have a choice, I prefer to play as a female.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Because I want to have something nice to look at.
And the thing is, I sometimes go in a lot of games where you can choose between the male and the female character.
Yeah.
And I usually, when the choice is present to me, I usually do, like, I pause the game and do a little research. For example, would I like the voice acting more in this or this?
Yeah.
For example, in the Far Cry 6, when I played, I found the female voice acting. I liked it more than the male. I liked the voice more.
Yeah.
Nothing about the male voice actor. I just like connected more with the other voice, so I chose that. So
I find it more and more as a occurrence because, for example, in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Cassandra was way better than Alexios. Not just as a character, but also like the voice acting. And then in Hogwarts Legacy, so I started as playing as a male. Then for the Twitch stream, by the way, come and join me on a Twitch every now and then. I choose a female character, and I found the female voice way more pleasing than the male character.
And also in some games it's gonna go, for example, I really like the way in Astral Chain. It's a game specifically for, like, exclusively for the Switch, made by Platinum Games. And you have twins, and I really like the way of choosing the male character because you had a twin sister. So it was like brother and sister, and since I have some sisters and I have a brother, it was like very nice to me to have be the brother that has the sister.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything bad with either of those choices.
Yeah. So let's ask the big question. What makes a good female character?
I think I already said it. It's the writing. Take a look at some TV shows or movies or video games. You can tell when a video game has greatly written characters. Like your favorite Witcher is a great example of how to write great characters. Or for example, in the Bayonetta games, the character of Bayonetta is written pretty nicely, and it has some nice details of the characters even in the games, and if the writing is good.
Some too big details. Sorry.
I meant actually especially the second one. It's very light-hearted, and all the jokes and style. It's really amazing.
Yeah. For me, it doesn't matter if the character is very sexy or not. If it's a well-written character, it doesn't really matter. But at the end of the day, I think it depends on what kind of game you're making, who you make it for. If you make it for the broad audience, then obviously think about it. How do you want to portray women or males in your game? Are men the bulky ones, the big muscles?
We are talking about JRPGs.
and the women be the sexy, cute ones. Or are you making more of a game more? Let's say, I don't know if the right word is realistic, but a game where it's more about the story than the visuals. So it's the female and male is portrayed more realistically, quote unquote. So it's the main point of the game is not the point of the character is not the visuals, is their character. So it depends what kind of game you're making.
Yeah, and also the character can even have both great visuals and a great character.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's not exclusive.
Is such a great example for that.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, exactly. She's sexy, she's beautiful, and she's funny, and she's such a well-written character. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm tired of people telling us what to think and how it should be. Let the developers do what they want.
Yeah, I think that it comes to also that is it a great experience, the game, or is it just to make something that the society expects? No, it should be great experience first and foremost.
Yeah.
That's the point of the game. They should be great entertainment. They should not be a display of the people that don't play video games.
Yeah, exactly. So let's just have developers go and just let them portray, because it's their idea of how the character should look like. It's if a game director comes out, okay, I see this character, it's the same, I see this character and I wanted them to look like this and this. And then it's the same in books. When you're reading The Witcher or the Game of Thrones, you don't want to imagine ugly character. Why would you? Yeah. But the thing that's the one thing these feminists, that's what they did. You can't portray female as. strong, as a damsel in distress. You can't portray ugly woman. You can't portray sexy woman. You can't. What the hell you want? It's like the explanation of what actually it's correct. It's so vague that it's just hurting my brain to just try to even explain it, and let alone to make a game in that regard. I think it got better already, and people just don't see it. It got very better because we have strong female characters in video games, but because people actually think, okay, if I want to make a game which has a main female character, I'm gonna actually make it right, and I'm just gonna make it not annoying. I'm just not gonna have a strong female character just for the sake of having a strong female
just
character.
Like She-Hulk.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the TV show, not the comics, like that.
Yeah, the comics is actually the comic is way different than the show. It's I'm not gonna explain because I don't want to go into that because I don't know much about the comic, and honestly I gave up on Marvel Universe because I'm just so tired of it.
After Endgame, it kind of got down.
Yeah, and they had like there's every month something coming out about Marvel or Star Wars, and I'm tired, and I don't want to keep up. Like, if I would want to keep up, I would have to just take a 2 months holiday and watch something every hour.
Or give up video games. We're not gonna do that.
No. We're not doing that. Yeah, we definitely not gonna do such a thing like that.
Yeah, I would say also one point for the character. It can be. If it's relatable, it can also be an interesting point for that.
That's a good point.
Because like if the character usually kind of like a nicely written character, that it can be relatable. But if it's relatable, it's definitely done right. Like it can be someone who is like super sexy and like feel like everyone see her as an object.
Yeah.
And she talks about it and makes what relatable. Or for example, as I talked at the start of this topic, the Lara Croft, the Tomb Raider reboot.
Yeah.
In the 2013 game, one of my favorite game of all times, by the way. Like the character is like relatable. She talks about like in her thoughts, like what she's feeling, how it's doing, and you really relate to her.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's one of the biggest point.
And actually, like mark of strength is also to like show your weakness. And if you show this weakness, it has much better impact.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think I think also people are already also tired of that kind of a trope of I'm strong and I can get through everything, and like, which is great. And I think that's why also the God of War went to that way too, where Kratos is now facing his own problems and not just raging all the time.
Yeah, it's not about the muscles, but about like the wisdom.
Yeah. Which it was fine for the time where the first games came out.
But I think it's still fine, but it's not good it would not be good for the evolution of the series and the character
exactly.
if he kept the same.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what a good written character is. He evolves.
Yeah. So the conclusion is, yes, there's nothing wrong with a sexy female character, and there's nothing wrong with not having exactly two sexy character, but let's just have a good female characters, well written, and let's just not just put a strong female character like just for the sake of having strong female Mary Sue character. I'm talking about Star Wars.
You mean the sequels?
Yeah, I mean the sequels. Yeah, obviously Rey is so Mary Sue and so overpowered, and I'm not gonna go into that, but that's kind of the conclusion I'm trying to make.
Also, one point to the conclusion: focus on making the games great experiences, not on how exactly. Whatever works to make the game a good experience to a degree. Is a good way. Yeah, because at the end of the day, as we said many times already on this episode, game are leisure activity. Yes.
Stop pushing your agendas and just make a game where I can relax and just enjoy it, just for the sake of enjoying it, not just because I want to read or have some agenda that's punching me in the face. Yeah, we go into the video games to explore the real world. So please don't push the problems from real world
into the games when it should not belong there.
Yeah. Let's settle up and get comfortable, gamers, because we're going somewhere where not many even dare to venture. Got your cozy blanket? Got your snacks and drinks? Good. Are video games racist and homophobic?
No, next topic.
Okay, that was it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Diversity and inclusivity are the words which immediately bring some kind of controversy. Games are being called out for not representing all races or sexualities. Even when it comes to historic accuracy, these people would rather have these groups included than respect and follow the historic facts and data. We've already mentioned Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, for having pride flags instead of national flags. Not really a historic flag, but it shows how this inclusivity and diversity are becoming a big issue in the video game industry. Tokenism is one of the biggest problems. Rather than having interesting characters, as we mentioned already in previous topics, we are checking boxes for every race and sexuality. Resident Evil 5 got some backlash from SJWs, Social Justice Warriors, for the game having black zombies, even when the game was set in Africa. So there's a problem, even if the game portrays an accurate demographic. Okay. The most recent game which got some attacks is Hogwarts Legacy. The quote-unquote transgender community was rather unsuccessfully trying to get everyone to boycott this game, cancelled pre-orders and stuff like that, claiming that the creator of Harry Potter universe is homophobic, transphobic, and whatever. They even said that goblins are basically Jews, which is very, very hurtful to Jewish community. Me as a Jewish, I find it very, very, very Jewish by birth, not by religion. Clarifying, I find it very, very hurtful to say that goblins are Jews. That's very, very hurtful. Even when this game has nothing to do with the creator, J.K. Rowling. When people were still buying in, they were harassing the streamers who played the game on their channels. Famously on channel Girlfriend Reviews, which is a amazing YouTube channel. Yeah. I love their videos. They're very, very funny, really, really good. Agreed. I don't agree with all the statements they make, but nonetheless, Shelby, the girlfriend, was brought to tears by the harassment on her stream. And she just left the stream. Also, Silvervale, another streamer, was brought to tears by the harassment on her Twitch. This is outrageous and disgusting, and it's not helping anyone. I'm going to ask you this question because it's a really important one. To this racist and homophobic topic, have you ever played or heard a game that was downright racist or homophobic?
That's a really good question. But I can't really recall something specific like that. I think more what we mentioned the Witcher and Sapkowski doing his take on racism by the genocide of the elves, and these topics were tackled in several games, I believe. But I don't really recall playing game that is downright racist or something like that because. I think those games that I think there can be, but those are usually made by a very small group of people and are not great experiences. So maybe that's why we haven't heard much of them.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's done with the only intent to be racist or hateful towards any subgroup or whatever, and not to be a great experience, it's probably not going to be successful.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's one thing I wanted to mention. A thing is not racist, but just because someone said so, that's racist.
Yeah, I would really like to put here a quote. I don't know what the name of the actor or comedian was, and he said, "Well, there was a joke. You got offended. I laughed. That's why I'm happier than you."
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. Not everything is offensive, and not everything that you find offensive might be objectively offensive.
Yeah, exactly. Again, games are subjective experience.
Yes.
And it's something is not racist it has to be for the thing to be racist, it would have to be made with a racist and homophobic intent. And I don't find games to be made, especially Hogwarts Legacy, or Resident Evil 5, to be made with a racist intentions. I don't think the team was like, I'm gonna be a racist today or homophobic. Have you even tried to research Hogwarts Legacy? What's in the game after it came out? There's even despite for me, which is the game is happening at late 1800s, like 1880 or something like that. So late 1800s, which was, to be honest, not very quote unquote diverse time for the Western world. There was a lot of racism and stuff still happening around the world, right? But the game has a transgender character. It has diverse. The teachers are all from a different country. Like there's Indian, Japanese, Chinese teachers. They're all like even from Africa, and it's just. Have you even tried to like research that? Like you said that this game is portraying like homophobic and you're supporting homophobia when the game is downright supporting all those claims that you try to say that the game try to like denounce, and yet like this game is just supporting even if it doesn't make sense really historically, but it's just it's a Harry Potter universe. I don't to me personally, I don't really care if if it's a well written character. I don't really care what kind of a thing he is or her. So that's kind of like my little rant. Like you have the audacity to tell us that this game you have audacity to tell us that these things are racist when they were not made with a racist intent. You know what? You are the one who is racist because you are bringing race and gender and sexuality into this issue, even when it wasn't made with that issue in heart. So
yeah, like I mean that's how you actually provoke this, because you making something that it's not.
Yeah.
Talking about the racism, like even though the racism can be portrayed in a game or like whatever of these we talked about, like homophobia, whatever. Like even though it is portrayed, doesn't mean that the game is racist. For example, if you play games where you are, I don't know, a character of color or whatever, and you get harassed, it doesn't mean the game is racist because it portrays, for example, historical events. Like I recently, last, I don't know, month or two maybe, I have finished the Freedom Cry DLC for the Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Yeah.
And it's a nice example. Like you play as a...
That's a great DLC.
Yeah, yes, it is. Like you play as a former slave who tries to free other slaves, and although the slavers are obviously racist and bad people, it doesn't mean the game is racist when it depicts them, because it was like it happened in history and we cannot change history. I mean, if you can change history, I have like a lot of things you could do. Please, if you contact us, if you can change history, please do. We would love to change.
Let us know in the
things.
comments if you if you have a time machine.
Yeah, we would take CD Projekt Red to like make Cyberpunk launch better. Anyway,
that's a main history point in human history that we would like to change, please.
Like that's what happened in history, and it also shows how you can fight some of these things, or like you are fighting the racism in the Freedom Cry DLC. So even though racism and these topics can be in games, doesn't make the games bad. It actually makes them even better than you ranting about that they are, because they are actually showing like what the people could have felt. If you play in some unique experiences story games, you can play from the character from a minority, and you can find much more about what they're feeling than if you just heard someone read about it, that this game is this and that.
Yeah, what I found mainly as the problem in this issue is the tokenism. They're just trying to like push this agenda into the video games, even when it doesn't like really make sense.
Yeah, not just video games.
And not just video games, like movies. Like look at
TV
Marvel, look at Disney. What they're doing.
Oh,
like
yeah.
what is a movie industry going into? Like it's
or
super
like
crazy.
Amazon with the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Sure. There's a lot of opinions on Lord of the Rings. I don't want to get into it.
Quote Lord of the
But just that tokenism is such a big problem because, all right, so we're gonna sacrifice history, sacrifice for example, let's talk about. We don't even have to go far. One of the games that was developed in Czech Republic by Warhorse Studios, Kingdom Come Deliverance, was bashed by these SJWs and these people for not having a black characters. Guess what, you dingo? That was 14th century, 13th century,
something like that.
Something like that. In Bohemia,
Central Europe.
Guess what? Even if you go here outside of Prague, okay, because Prague is pretty a multicultural town. Just go outside of Prague.
Not as much, really.
What do you guess? What is gonna be the race that you're gonna see most? If you're gonna guess 100% Caucasian, you're gonna be right.
Yeah, because the Kingdom Come Deliverance is also not happening in Prague. It's happening in outside of the big towns, like villages. Yeah. And guess what? Villagers are almost 100% Caucasian even these days in Czech Republic.
Exactly. So you telling me that I'm supposed to, just erase our history, erase our cultural heritage just for the sake of diversity? No, that's not gonna happen. This is hateful towards against my country. I find it really, really offensive. Mm-hmm. If you just want to but it doesn't have black characters. Who gives a crap?
It's historical game set in Central Europe.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, you dingoes. I'm sorry. I don't
if the game was happening in 13th century in Africa, we wouldn't be complaining. There aren't any white guys.
Characters. Yeah, exactly.
Because that wouldn't make much sense.
Yeah, exactly. So you're complaining about Resident Evil 5 for having black zombies, even when the game is happening in freaking Africa.
And zombies are reanimated dead. And since most dead people in Africa are probably, so
black, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, no,
use your brain.
Use your brain. That's so crazy to me. Like even Witcher 3 got that kind of a backlash that they are portrayed by mainly white cast. Who gives a crap? Are you here to play the game or review the game? Are you just here to be freaking racist?
And also, the game is based on Polish mythology, the books. Game is based on books which are based on Polish mythology. And Polish mythology is, guess what? White. Because people in Poland are, guess what? White.
Yeah.
So, are we complaining that Chinese movies are consisting of Chinese people, or Bollywood movies are full of Indian people, and Japanese games are full of Japanese characters? Whatever. It's a cultural thing. You should be celebrating that. You have a great game, which is a great experience, great story, great writing, great characters.
Yeah.
And Michal loved it so much that he replayed it a dozen times already.
Yeah.
You should celebrate that.
Yeah, exactly. And you should also celebrate that there are games that are diverse. There's time and place for that, for diverse games and portraying all of that. But it doesn't have to be in every game or in every media, in every movie.
Yeah, and I think the thing is the diversity. It's nice when it's something that makes sense. For example, if you take let's say that some of recent Disney TV shows, they just have the checklist. Yeah, we have one character like this, one like this, one like this, and they don't have rights. Then you have a TV show like New Amsterdam, which is about a hospital in New York, I believe, in the New Amsterdam part. And the people in that part of the world are very diverse. So you have a cast of diverse characters, but it makes perfect sense because it's about where the story is happening. You have the characters written, so it doesn't feel forced onto something that is not.
Yeah, when you look at the Witcher series, Netflix, I'm talking to you right now, and I'm so angry. You messed up my favorite series in the world. You downright messed it up. You know, Sapkowski, when he describes a character, he was very, very specific. He describes their height, their skin color, their eyes, their facial hair, their hair, everything that is described. Because guess what? It's really important for the character. It's part of his characteristic. But when you do a character that is portrayed as a pale with a dark hair, very, very pale character, and you portray her as black, I'm going to have a problem with that. Because you are destroying the work. If you would make a show that is not about that, you could have made like your own show and your own characters, and I would be, okay, fine, I don't have a problem with that. But because you followed the books and the characters are described very, very well in those books, and you just for the sake of diversity, just for the sake of inclusivity, you're just gonna put. I have nothing against actor. Don't get me wrong. The actors did a good job. They are good actors. It's the writing and it's the casting of the people that they decide, okay, yeah, you know, we're just gonna check out. Okay, there's a Chinese, there's a black, and there's Latino. I mean, we're gonna check out all those boxes, and we can release it. Yeah,
I think like for that, like we don't even have a problem if you adjust this, like if you add the diversity, but in a way that makes sense.
Yeah,
for example,
exactly.
like if you want to have a like black people and you know some other races and whatever, just how about like spreading them by the regions? So on the north there will be like really pale, in the south that will be darker, and you can make it in a way that makes sense and that actually makes feel the world more believable, because it would be similar to ours. But
exactly.
There's something forcing onto characters, forcing on the places. These like these changes and these characteristics that don't really work well.
Yeah. So I think we can both agree that this is hurting the industry very, very much.
And don't get us wrong, we are not racist. We don't have problem. Like there was like I played the Freedom Cry where you play as a black guy and you free black guy slaves, and I really enjoyed it. And it was a great experience, and it actually felt really good, like freeing those people. And
exactly.
So it has to be done in the way that makes sense for the story.
Yeah, exactly. It's like most of the people around the world, they don't care what the color of the skin is when it's done well. Like if it makes sense, no one has a problem with. It's when you push these agendas, when you just put just a black character just for sake of having a black character in the game, and when it doesn't make sense at all. That's when I'm gonna draw a line. I think most of people are thinking that way because they're normal thinking people, but there are this small group of people that think that that's wrong. We need to be inclusive, and not just by race, but also by gender now. So there's another new problem about this, whereas the LGBTQ they deserve to be portrayed.
If it doesn't make sense, I mean, there are unique experiences that portray them well and their feelings. For example, in the main story of The Life is Strange True Colors, you have a choice and you can like have the main character as a lesbian.
Yeah,
and it's done in a way that makes much more sense than forcing it onto character. That was, for example, in a book or something written totally different.
Yeah. Like, let's look at The Last of Us. Ellie, is known to be lesbian. And everyone was okay with that. There was no one like, oh, she's a lesbian. No one was like that. Only maybe a few idiots every now and there. But no one was like, that's a bad character because she's a lesbian. No. Okay, she's lesbian. And
also, like in the first game, it wasn't like slammed into you that hard to be like, yes, we have a lesbian character. No, it was like in like very subtle way actually. That made sense, because guess what? Like I don't go everywhere talking, hi, I'm a white male.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't do that.
Yeah.
And these people of each of these subgroups, guess what? They don't do that in real life that much.
Yeah, that's true. And I think like if you want to have these kind of games where you make these check boxes and like you want to have lesbians, you want to have transgender, you want to have all the races, then make your own game and don't put this agenda on others.
Yes.
Go, you have the power. That's one thing that these people are forgetting. They also have the power to create. They also have in this era we are living in correctly. You have the tools to learn fairly quickly a lot of stuff. So rather than just sitting behind a computer and complain on the internet or pushing your agenda or harassing people, will not change anything. If anything, it will hurt your case even more. I believe that the harassment of the people who were streaming the Hogwarts Legacy brought even more hate towards. No hate. There was not really much hate. People just didn't care. But now, like, people are actually. I don't want to just be afraid. Just to go on an internet and play the game because some minority group feels offended by it. Okay, don't watch it.
It's not for you.
It's not for you. That's okay. Just
find something else. That's
for you. Just don't care. Just don't push your own agenda on me. I don't go around on the Twitch and say, look, I'm a Christian. You should repent. Because you know what? You know why I don't do that? Because I don't want to push my agenda on you.
By the way, the point you had about you can create, I remember the quote that was talked around when the Amazon take on Tolkien's work, the Amazon heresy on Tolkien's work was released. And people said, well, the difference, I think it was from Tolkien, and I will paraphrase it. I think he said it in his book, like, the difference between good and evil, that good can create and evil cannot create. They can only change or destroy what was already created. So if you have something like this and you really want to know, create something of your own. If it's good, then great job. If it's not good, if it sucks, or you can only modify that it might not be as a good thing. Yeah,
exactly.
And as we said before and today multiple times, games should be first and foremost great experiences.
Yeah, exactly. Telling great stories,
having great gameplay like amazing visuals, and that's are the things that make great games. It's not the diversity of the cast. It's not anything else. Like, for example, there were games that had a diverse cast and were awesome experiences. And guess what? Actually, gamers are maybe the least racist of all peoples, because we can talk to cat people, and we can talk to lizard folk, and we can talk to Asari, which are blue, and we can talk to even robotic Geth. Like a much more like talking about racism with us. Bruh, I know much more races that you will ever see in your life.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think what it comes down to, that these people, they, rather than to celebrate that there are games that are diverse, there are games which are very inclusive, they just gonna complain about the game that, are, for example, respect the history and the nationality that they were made.
Let's compare it. How many diverse games are there compared to how many historically accurate games are there? I think there are not too many historically accurate games, so you should celebrate that we have finally another historically accurate game, at least to some degree. Not that it's not diverse. Come on. We should be happy. Like, we should have the games for the categories, and happy that there are some games in that category. There is a great game inspired by books inspired by Polish mythology. Yay, awesome. Great job.
Yeah, and we have a game which is inspired by historical event in Bohemian Czech Kingdom. So, and
we had a game that had a really diverse cast of characters, and it was great. It was named Overwatch.
Yeah.
It's not around anymore.
Yeah, it's like a 1 minute of silence.
but the characters were still great, and we all really enjoyed playing with them.
Yeah, exactly. I think this topics always makes me a little bit how to say, angry.
Triggered.
It triggers me because I'm just tired of
hearing it all the time.
I mean, you know, when you look at it, it's usually those people are Americans talking to American audience. But here in
guess
Europe,
what? World is not just America.
Yeah, exactly.
There are actually much more people outside of America.
I would say to those people, like, if we would vote about some kind of a stuff that you agree on, let's say like the transgender topic, you would be if the whole world, the whole populace of the world could vote, you would be majorly outvoted.
And I think the majority of answers would actually be, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Because a lot of people, like we gamers often don't care about the races because, as we said, if it's a good experience, if it's a good character, I don't care if he's blue, orange, whatever. If he's a good character and he's fun to play as.
Yeah, the moment we start to care is when the agenda is pushed. That's why The Last of Us was such a big problem, because it felt pushed. It didn't felt natural. It felt like they were, rather than making a game that was fun, they were trying to push some agendas.
You mean the second part?
The second one, The Last of Us Part 2. Yeah. And there are other like even Hogwarts freaking Legacy is pushing the bar a little bit too much for my taste. I'm like, there's a character who is transgender, and I was like, okay, this doesn't really make sense, but okay, I'm just gonna go with it, whatever. So that's the moment where people like, okay, this is wrong, not because the people are racist or homophobic, but because they're tired of being telling what to think, and not by just those like minorities or those groups of people, but by their own press.
It's like you would also be like kind of triggered or like surprised just like that when you would see, I don't know, a Lamborghini racing in the race of like hot hatch cars, because it would have great advantage, for example. But it's stuff like that, like something that's really out of place.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the main thing altogether, that just stop pushing your own agenda on us, because we're tired of it. Gamers are tired of just defending themselves with logic, and when you don't want to listen to logic, then it's kind of hard to talk to you. So people are just gonna go, okay, fine, just do whatever you want. I don't care. I don't have patience, and I don't have the strength to deal with it. Let's just, I'm gonna say it. Please, developers, it's your own game. If you want to have diverse cast, if you want to have diverse game, inclusive games, go for it. If it's gonna good game, we're gonna love it. We're gonna praise you for it. But just don't put just these things just for the sake of having them, because that's hurting the game. It's hurting the game industry. And look at the media. Look at the IGN, GameStop, and all these media talking about these topics and making them like just talking, pushing those agenda further. Even it's wrong, and we are tired of it. We're tired of thinking of what. We are tired of being told what to think, and especially in post-communist countries, here in Czech Republic and post-USSR countries, because we were under oppression for a long time. We don't like being told what to do. That's why I think these agendas don't really stick here in this part of the globe, because we're just tired of being told what to do
and what to think
mainly. So just think about what are you doing. Just don't harass people for crying out loud. If someone just playing a game who is enjoying it, unless that game is portraying clearly, unless the game is really, really racist, like made by racist and homophobic intent, then yes, let's slander it and let's like make okay, this is not okay. But unless if the game is made with passion and it's just a game that is fun and is made by fans, why on earth would you just go and harass people for anything that they say?
Yeah, just once again, use your brain when thinking about this. Like, does it make sense? Does not.
Yeah.
And also, is it the experience for me? Like, I can enjoy games that people don't. Other people can enjoy games that I don't. And that's okay. That's why we have so many choices. And if you don't like that something does not have diversity, just pick a game that have it.
Yeah.
And it's totally fine. We won't judge you for it. Unless it's FIFA. Because we will judge anyone who plays FIFA, right? It's just a joke.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's a good conclusion. Just let's be people to people.
Let's use our brains.
Let's just use our brains.
Let's enjoy what we all enjoy and
yeah,
don't slam on other people just because they enjoy something else.
Exactly. After Gamers are Michal Jirásek and Matouš Paňanský. If you enjoy listening to our rambling, be sure to give us a follow on your favorite platform, and don't forget to rate our podcast, because I heard in the algorithm world, that's what gives the push to your favorite podcast the most. So please do rate us. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you can leave a comment about the topics we've been talking about, and we will have amazing discussions in the comment sections. Follow us on our social media at AftergamersCast on Instagram. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you on the next one, and don't forget that you can always game after work.